before he even finishes school. But I'm teaching him that. I'm teaching him how to be. I'm trying to, as I learn to be financially savvy, I'm teaching him.
See,
Because
and that's what's
that
important. Exactly. And that's what I try to do with my children. The lessons that I know, it was really hard for me to learn this lesson. This is something I can pass on to my child, and it'll really help them, help catapult them to the next level. Then that's something I'm going to make sure I share with them. So when it comes to financial literacy, I'm going to make sure that my children have as much information as possible. Now, with my daughter, when she was much younger, I didn't have that information available for her.
Right.
Even though I had really good credit, I didn't necessarily focus on my credit. So I just knew not to play with credit cards, or I didn't take chances with them. And those things that I did do, I didn't have a lot of financial responsibility, so I paid my bills.
But that's the thing with the credit cards. The credit cards are not a bad thing.
Not if you understand management.
It's a matter of being financially savvy. Because I learned later on that I should have had credit cards, but I didn't know people get credit cards. They think shop.
Right.
Instead of using it to build your credit.
Right.
And that's what when I first tried to get my very first car, that was one of my biggest things. You don't have any credit.
You should definitely have credit. You should understand how to build it the right way.
Right.
You should know that if you're going to have a credit card, it should not have, 30%? You shouldn't use more than 30% of that card.
Right.
So if it's a $100 card, don't use more than $30 at a time unless it's something that you can pay off in full the next statement that comes in.
You have to understand credit card doesn't mean shopping spree.
Right.
It doesn't mean shopping spree.
It's not free money. You better know that it's got to come from somewhere, and it's going to come back to you. And that's why we're definitely going to have an entire episode dedicated to financial literacy. But we need to have this type of information to share with our children before we're kicking them out of the house so soon.
Right.
There are so many other communities that allow their children those opportunities to stay home, to finish college, to even begin their careers.
To begin to establish themselves.
Yeah, Michelle Obama stayed home for the longest time. She was already actively working in her career as an attorney before she moved out of her parents' home.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am, a fully grown woman.
And that's I think that's okay. I think it's perfectly okay.
It was wonderful. She described it as a highly supportive relationship between her and her parents.
Well, that's what you call having a good support system. I mean, we in our community, we've placed so much emphasis on being at home with your mama, making you look like this, that, or the third. But I mean, I joke all the time. I told people after I got separated and got ready to divorce, I told people, I would say it all the time. If my mom was still living at the time, I probably would have been back home with her.
Absolutely.
But it's a good safety net to be able to get yourself established before you get out there. And the chances of your child coming back home, if you let them wait until they're ready to go, the chances are very slim.
Right.
But those that you end up pushing out prematurely, those are the ones that end up bouncing back so many times. They end up bouncing back, or they end up bouncing from couch to couch to couch.
Yeah.
They never really learn stability because they're always, it's the saying, I take one step forward, I get knocked back two more.
Yep.
That's how you end up in those situations, because you don't really get the opportunity to try to learn or apply what you've learned because you're busy trying to maintain.
Yep. And that's why it's so important for us to remove that negative connotation. Stop making it look so bad when you are at home with your parents. It's okay to need support. It's okay.
Don't be 35 at home on your mama's couch.
Mooching.
Mooching.
Now, and hold on. You can't make it an age thing because I've seen
I think when you get to 30 and 35, you can.
I've seen people who went through dramatic divorces who
that's
went
a
home
story.
to recoup, and I think that's okay.
I mean, you do have circumstances. Don't get me wrong. You do have some circumstances.
Know the
house
difference
may catch
between
fire.
somebody that's returning home for support and somebody that's just mooching and don't want to be an adult and not interested in having responsibilities or paying bills.
And that's what I mean.
We're not saying enable your children to be insufficient or incompetent over their own lives. That's not what we're encouraging. Yeah. We're absolutely encouraging you to support your children longer, to set them up for a better outcome in the long run, and they have a lower chance of having to return home at that point.
I saw this before we go. I saw this video, and I don't think it had anything to do with being knowledgeable, but I was thinking about what you were saying, how you just hindering.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this man. This man was in his 40s, I want to say, and he was sleeping in his mom's bed. It was on Dr. Phil's show. He was sleeping in his mom's house. Had his own bedroom, but the man had like little mini portable urinals. Like he didn't leave his room, and
Ever.
he said it was a depression type thing because he said he was once engaged. The girl, whatever happened with that situation, I don't know. They broke up, and he just was confined to that room for years after that.
Oh wow!
Years, not months, not days, years. Mm-hmm. And when they went on the show, he was still in a position where he was confined to that room, and he said it was a severe depression. He even had a mini fridge in there. He wouldn't leave his room. His mom waited on him hand and foot. His mom came and dumped his urinals and did all this stuff.
Wow!
So you definitely don't want to be that parent that hinders your kid. Because at what point do you say, let's get him some help?
Exactly. At what point do you not, or what point do you realize you're enabling? You're no longer being a support system. You're enabling. And there's a very fine line between the two. Yeah. And at some point, she needs to say, okay, I've given you time, and now you need some help. Let's get you some help to heal.
Yeah. And I said that just to say that was the point I wanted to make. You, in terms of this financial stability thing, you definitely don't want to, you want to help, but you don't want to enable them to be dependent. Lazy and say, hey, this safety net is always going to be here. So guess what? Let me just take advantage of it.
Right.
You don't want to get them to that point. You definitely want them to be strong enough to leave the nest and say, okay, I'm wise enough now to fly. And of course, you're going to come back to mama for things. You're going to,
Right. But that's the confidence that you've instilled in them in the beginning with allowing them to wait until it was the right time for them to leave after they've gained a sense of direction. You've instilled that confidence in them to jump out there and try things and see what fits for them, because they know, okay, if this is a disaster, I'm going back home, get myself together, and I'm going to jump back out there and try again. And that's the most important thing. That's the difference between the enabling and the support. They're willing to jump back out there and try again.
Or you've given me the necessary tools to recover.
There you go. Perfect.
I've come across some disastrous situations, but guess what? My mom has been gone since I was 22. So I didn't have anywhere to go. So I've had to recover.
Right.
And I'm grateful that I have the support system that I have to where I've been able to recover with no problem.
Right.
So, there were struggles, there were hard times, because again, I wasn't always financially savvy. I didn't always know. I just knew, get out there and get an apartment. Mm-hmm. I'd get out there and get a car. But I've had the support system in place to where if something went wrong, I had help. Let's figure, and it wasn't necessarily financial help. It was, let's figure out how you can get out of this. Let's figure out how you can maneuver around this thing.
Right.
So I think that as parents, we have to start releasing those curses, let that stuff go, and releasing all of these preconceived notions about having your child at home. Definitely. Or helping your child.
Definitely.
Because I don't think that, like she said, like Jennifer said, it's a fine line between hindering and help. But I think that in the process of helping, educate them.
Absolutely.
Why you're helping them.
Right.
And that's where you erase that line. Mm-hmm. And you go
to make sure they're self-sufficient.
Right. You don't cross it. You make sure they're self-sufficient and they know what they need to know to be self-sufficient. So, and they understand that everything, just because as a parent I'm giving you this, everybody's not going to give you.
Right.
They're not going to give you whatever. They're not going to.
And that's where the communication comes in. Yeah. Don't just sit around helping. The communication is vital so that they do understand the process, so that they do understand that this is me helping you and the world will not. So I like that you added that in there, definitely.
Yeah. So in closing, I just want to say again, make sure when you're talking to your kids, let's break these curses, y'all. Let's help our babies be financially fit. Let's help them be financially savvy. Let's help them get into the world and not drown.
Right.
And it's okay to be the life preserver when they do drown. It's okay to be the life preserver.
Be willing to stand up and be the one who will say, I am ending this curse right here. I'm going to stop this cycle right now. I'm going to do this and that and differently.
As a parent, I'm going to give my child the necessary tools to be successful.
Right.
That's a part of my success.
Right.
So, well, we're going to switch this thing up and get on out of here, y'all. But before we go, make sure you follow us on Twitter. That's at I forget it every time. Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm not on Twitter that much. I gotta do better with Twitter.
Twitter is gonna be at Just Switch Lanes, and I'm learning it too. It's all the process for us learning to produce our own podcast. It's really been adventurous. So.
I gotta learn to use Twitter. I'm just gonna be honest. I can use Facebook. I can use Instagram.
Right.
I can even use YouTube. But Twitter, I still don't. I've been on Twitter. I have a Twitter account. I just still don't even understand the point of Twitter right now. I'm sorry. I don't. Apparently, our president does.
I understand.
But I don't.
He definitely understands. But I've been learning specifically for the podcast. That's when I got a Twitter account.
Maybe you can do a tutorial.
Uh-oh.
Because
we'll see how that goes.
I had a Twitter account for years and found out I actually had two.
Uh-oh. How?
I had to delete one because I forgot the password. So
that's funny.
I had to delete one. So when I finally figured it out and recovered it, I deleted it. But yeah, I gotta do better, y'all. So charge it to my head and not my heart. I gotta do better with this.
Right.
I feel like an old lady when it comes down to Twitter.
Right.
And that's so funny because I can do Instagram, I can do Facebook, but that Twitter thing,
It's been a process learning it.
It has. And I'm getting all these Twitter alerts, and I just kind of clear them out. I'm like, I'm not going to do this today. But just follow us on Twitter at Just Switch Lanes. Mm-hmm. Instagram is Switching Lanes Podcast. YouTube, Switching Lanes 901. And don't forget our Facebook group and our like page. Mm-hmm. Both on Facebook, Switching Lanes. I looked at the followers. And I think we're close to 500.
Okay, come on, guys. Help us hit that 500 mark. We want to jump over the line with the 500. Yeah. And that brings us to our good news for the year as well. Don't forget, or if you haven't heard yet, I'm super excited. I can't get it out. We are now on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify.
Yeah.
We are so super excited about that. So if you have any of those platforms, be sure to follow us. If you have all of those platforms, follow us on all of them.
Absolutely. I know I am.
Right.
So
thank you so much for your support up in here. We have some great things planned for the year. And we're so excited to be doing it with our Switching Lanes podcast family. Yes.
And shout out to our community spotlight for January and February. We decided to combine them because January feels like a short month because everybody's recovering from the holidays.
Right.
So we decided to do January and February, and it's Renata Wiggins.
Absolutely. Great work with the Rocking My Extra Chromosome modeling walk. So that was really fantastic work, excuse me.
Yes.
We're at the end. I'm struggling here. But it was really fantastic work that she did with the special needs students and the young ladies with Down syndrome. And she's still at it. Excellent program.
Follow her on Instagram and you'll get to see all of her work.
Definitely.
And, I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. One of Memphis' own, you guys. She's out there doing the big. Right. So congratulations to her. And thank you, Renata, for doing that for the community.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to hit us up in our email, switchinglanes901. And when we post this, y'all, let us hear your thoughts on this. I know a lot of us, are parents, so we definitely want to hear about your experiences. If you have adult children, or if you have children, that are in college or on their way, what are your views on this? How do you feel about?
How old were you when you left home?
Yeah.
And reflecting back on that, how do you feel about that now? Do you wish you had stayed home longer? Do you wish you had left sooner? I want to know. We want to hear that from you.
And does that influence how you want to do things with your children?
Right.
So.
Well, definitely. Thank you guys so much. Again, we're super excited about the great things to come this year. And until next time, love, Jen and Cicero.